Sometimes we don't realize what it's costing us, but we've been caused that, and we're looking at us based on the way people have looked at you, and we start even comparing as we were growing up. Then we start comparing ourselves to other people. Oh, he jumps higher than I can. He sings better than I can. He's better looking than I am. His nose is this well-chiseled, much more well-chiseled than mine. His lips are thinner than mine. And you start comparing it to each other, and you start seeing yourself as somebody who's always lesser than the other person. He's an achiever, I don't. I'm not. He's got a lot of girlfriends. No one even wants to date me. He's a deacon. I'm just sweeping the floor in the church, and you look at all those things as if you are no one. And that's the reason why we developed this inferiority complex inside of us. And we started looking at us as, I am nothing, and because I'm nothing, do you know that a person who has inferiority complex will never or will barely experience joy in their lives? Because it doesn't matter what's going on in their life that is good. It doesn't matter what they're accomplishing. It's always not going to be enough, because they will always see somebody doing better than they are. And God is telling you, in spite of that fact, the antidote to that, God is saying, yes, despite those external threats, and now despite this internal threat or things that are going on in life, you can rejoice. You just have to see yourself not in a manner that the world shows and gives significance to you. We are all being measured by the world in so many different standards. You got 6 packs? Cool. Right? What about us who don't? We're uncool. Speak to yourself. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, how many of us here have 6 packs anyway? Probably 2, 3 people. What about the rest of us? Drums. Kegs. So what? We don't have a reason to be joyful anymore. The world measures us. Bill Gates, worth, I don't know how much, what, 53 billion? I don't even know. But they measure you based on your bank account. Oh, he's got more money in the bank account. Oh, the founder of Google, or the founder of this Facebook thing, we're making him rich. They're only in their 20s and they're multi-billionaires. And we compare ourselves to, who I am, I'm nothing. God says, you are not nothing. You know what God considers you as? Look at these verses. He says in Psalm chapter 8, 3-5, when I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have set in place. Do you think heavens and the moon and the stars are beautiful? Glorious? Awesome? Oh yeah, they are. But then he continues, what is man that you are mindful of him? Really, if you see the size of the universe, that's the reason it's very hard for scientists to accept that there are improbabilities. With the billions of galaxies that are able to reach with telescopes already, they're still trying to search for other living beings. And the reason why is, it's so hard for us to believe that this big, vast, mighty, unfathomable almost universe would have no other beings living in them except us here on earth, and that we are really that important. And everything somehow is revolving around us. Can we accept that? Well, scientists probably out there could not, and a lot of people could not, so we keep on searching for other human beings higher than we are, or some aliens who are more intelligent than we are, and God is saying, stop. Okay, I don't know if there are some other people there, but so far with the billions of galaxies we have already touched, we still haven't found any. Why? Because we see ourselves as very little. And by the way, we're very little in size insignificant. We are so little. But God is saying, who is man? Even the writer was saying, but who are you? With all the universe, the mighty, vast, big universe, who are you? What is man that you, God, are mindful of him? The Son of Man that you care for him. He says, you have made him a little lower than angels. Of course, this applies to the Lord Jesus Christ eventually later on. But this applies to them as well. You have made him a little lower than the heavenly beings and crowned him, listen carefully, and crowned him. He did say this about the stars. He did say this about the sun. He said this about you. Crowned him with glory and honor. Do you think we are honorable? But I don't accomplish as much as he has, or they have. But do you think you're honorable? But I messed up so badly. Do you think you're honorable? Do you think you're glorious? Do you know what glory means? Weight. Weight. You know what weight means? Substance. In fact, I still associate those two very much. If I buy a microphone, when I'm buying a microphone or electronic items, when it's lighter, I got 2 items. When it's lighter, I usually get the heavier one. Someone is like, Probably psychological. When it's heavier, there's more substance to it. But that's exactly what glory means, weight, substance. And God is saying, you are substantial to me. I don't know how the world has made you feel about yourself. I don't know how you look at yourself. But the reason why you're not joyful about your life is because you think you're a lowly human being. Meaningless. And some people have made you feel that way, treated you that way, treated you like a trash, hit you like a trash, kicked you like a trash, spoken to you like you're nothing. But despite that fact, God says, I see you differently. I've crowned you. You're crowned in my eyes. With what? Not only this like big jewel crowns of the kings and the queens here on earth. He said, I've crowned you with glory and honor. That's who you are. So if something's stopping you to be joyful because you think you're inferior, you're nothing, God is saying, lift your heads up, stand up, speak up, and feel good about yourself because you are different. You are special. You are somebody. People have made you and made us because they do a lot of things to us that make us angry, make us bitter. Honestly, I will not undermine the feelings of the hurt that you're experiencing right now. And many of us, because of our reaction to things, we don't really fight back, we don't really speak up, we don't really become honest about it. I don't like what you're saying. We keep everything in ourselves. We keep it there. We keep on piling everything. But in the meantime, we're growing angrier and angrier, and we're growing more bitter and bitter. Do you realize that it's very hard for an angry person to be joyful? And the only reason I say that is because we're not God. As I said, when you're fighting with somebody, it's so hard to experience or feel love when you're fighting, when you're angry, when you're provoked, when you're on top, okay, of your anger and you want to explode and you've exploded. Especially if you've already exploded like a volcano and you're full of wrath. Do you realize that you could hardly experience love in your heart? God could do the same. He could be angry and He could love you at the same time. But us, try that. Try that. Try to be very happy and still be angry. Can anybody do that? Try to really laugh and still be angry. It's got to give way to each other. And when you are bitter, full of bitterness, and you're angry, God is saying, you know what? I've given you enough reasons for you to forgive. I want you to be free. I want you to soar. Don't let that bug you anymore. Don't let that put you down any longer. The verse in Ephesians 4:26-32 says this, quite lengthy, but I want to share this with you. It is in your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you're still angry. This is not for them, this is for you. He wants you to be free. He wants you to be rejoicing. He wants you to be joyful. He wants nothing to do to make your day gloomy. Okay? So He says, and do not give the devil a foothold. He who has been stealing must steal no longer, but must work, doing something useful with his own hands, that he may have something to share with those in need. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Do not grieve the Holy Spirit of God, with whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, brawling, and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind, compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgives you, or has forgiven you, or God forgave you. What it's saying, guys, instead of thinking about yourself and be like self-centered, and you're always thinking about people don't like me, people hate me, people criticize me, and I'm going angrier, and I know one of these days I'm just going to kill every one of you. And you know a lot of people who go to post offices and probably go to their classrooms and kill people just like that. It's not a one-time thing. It's something that has been piled up, and they kept, and they kept, and they kept. They were not living in. I haven't seen anybody who was a serial killer, and then they interviewed a neighbor, and they said, oh, he was a very happy and joyful people, or a joyful man. No, somehow they would say, there's something dark about this guy. Because of that, are you this person? Has somebody, and honestly, guys, it may be an experience that you still carry right now. It was so hard for me one time to forgive that person that I encountered when I was, 20-something years old. When he challenged me to a fight. He challenged me to a fight. I was in the car. He scolded me because I parked somewhere. I said, please, can I? And the way he spoke to me was really harsh. And he was like, come on, you're a man, I'm a man, you speak to me that way. And I really challenged him to fight. We were shouting at each other. But he said, come on, you want to fight, you want to fight. And I wanted to really start the fight, but there was a problem. He was a security guard with a gun in his holster. And sometimes I was going, and there were times in my life that I would think about it and say, where was that guy? Where's that guy? Because I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? And it bothers you. I felt guilty about those people that I fooled into thinking I'm a Christian, but I was not. I felt guilty, and so many things. So many things. And then there's the opposite. By the way, it may not be that. One of the things that may make you really unhappy in your life is not so much that you're inferior. It's not so much that we are so sensitive. And by the way, guys, if you are this person full of anger, full of bitterness, you are super sensitive about things, listen, not only are you not being joyful about your life, but people around you are being dragged by you. We are dragging people down when we are hypersensitive because they have to tiptoe every time they're around you, because they may say something that is a little bit wrong and you will explode. They've got to walk on eggshells because they may hurt you or hurt us. And it's not fun, not just for us. We're giving them a hard time. We're punishing people that we love. Do you think it's something you're happy to be? When you know you're giving other people that you love and care for a hard time. And there's another thing, by the way, that gives other people a hard time, and this is something I'm guilty about, at least for a long time. I don't know now. My children and my wife could attest to this if I've changed or not yet. Hopefully I have. But I'm not going to ask them now. Perfectionism. How many of you at least have an inclination to think that you are a perfectionist? Raise your hand. Okay, we got 1, 2. This message is for you, most especially 3. Some of you are just scared to raise your hand because the message is for you. Many times there's no joy in our hearts because no matter what we do, we're not satisfied. Right? We give it our best shot. You paint. After you paint, you're the one who criticizes it most. When everybody's going, wow, beautiful, and you're not joyful about it, that's your expression. Because you see a lot of things, you're not satisfied. The problem with that's a problem in our spirit that's dragging us down. But the problem with that is not only are you giving yourself or ourselves a hard time, again, we are giving people around us a hard time because as perfectionist people, we somehow expect others to live up to our standards, which they could probably not, because they're created differently. So no matter what they do, they got a grade of A-. You think we're happy? We're perfectionists. That's not a perfect grade. What was the score in your exam? 99. You think we're happy? Why? What was your mistake? Isn't that right? And not knowing that we're giving people again that we love and we care for, moving with us in the house, rubbing shoulders with us, a very hard time. Because no matter what they do, they could just not please you. You're always angry. You're always dissatisfied. And because of that, every person in the house would not even enjoy their lives so much. Because no matter what they do, we are creating in these people an inferiority complex and hypersensitivity as well. No matter